This is Reynolds Podcast, The Creative Mindset. Hi everyone, welcome to The Creative Mindset, a podcast about what the future holds at the intersection of creativity and technology. I'm Rei Namoto, the founding partner of I&Co, a global innovation firm based in New York and Tokyo. Generative AI has been the topic of the year, not just in the creative industry, but various industries and how it might impact the way we work and us as human beings. Since the explosions of tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and other generative AI tools, there have been many attempts at leveraging AI in the creation of content. However, at the enterprise or brand level, there haven't been that many viable or successful case studies of AI for and by creatives. Today's guest is Pum Lefebure, the co-founder and the chief creative officer of Design Army in Washington, D.C., where she oversees all creative coming through the agency's doors. In part one, we talked about how she used AI in actual client work, and she shared with us specifics of how she built her campaign using Midjourney, how long it took, and the advantage and disadvantage of using AI for a creative process. If you haven't listened, please have a listen. In part two, we go into how we as creatives and designers should maximize our creativity in the age of AI. So let's get started. If you were to produce this in a traditional way, the way you had done it, and I mean, you had done many photos. I mean, you've done beautiful work for the same client, in the past. And all of them, it's, Design Army's work, beautiful photo shoots and, beautiful video shoots, great looking models and great looking fashion, all those kind of things, right? How long would that have taken? Like a usual campaign, like a year ago, like how much time did you have to spend?
At least this one, 4 months.
4 months. And on average, a client, and you don't have to be specific, but a client like this, of this size, a regional client, how much would they have paid for something like, including production?
No, we can't talk about that.
I knew you were going to say that. I was pushing my luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, so let me put it this way. Having done this sort of thing myself, right? Like I would say, on the lowest end, I would say 150, 100 to 200K. Like 400K would be a better budget to work with. Like in the past couple of years, that's the kind of shoots that I've been either directly or indirectly involved. But even with that, if there was video involved, it becomes very expensive.
I mean, imagine this campaign.
Yeah.
Shoot for real. That's $500,000 for at very bottom for the people, for the cast, right? But this is all digital. It's all not exist. The model doesn't exist. The land doesn't exist. So it's good and bad. Good because it's fast, but then, we have to protect our creativity and we need to put the value and dollar sign into it. I think everyone tried to figure out how to charge the client using AI. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still the idea, right? Adventures in AI is an idea. It is a campaign. It's help someone selling the product, help consumer visualize the glasses that is probably not that inspiring on the white background, but now you put on someone's face like, with that skin tone, with red colors, bring out your blue eyes or whatever. That's still creativity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we just need to be really good at we need to charge the client. I mean, it's still time. It doesn't generate itself.
So by the time you presented, within the first week and a half or 2 weeks or so, was the first presentation relatively close to the final output that you had, or you still had to sort of iterate after? Like, what was the first presentation like?
It was done. That's the difference. For us as a creative agency, you usually sketch concept, pull mood board, and then you have to go to hire director, photographer, scout, wardrobe, makeup, cast, all that, right? It skipped that process completely. Because as you concept, it's already creating the final product as you go. So you skip the photo shoot aspect of it completely. So you concept it out. This is what it looks like. We might adjust typography, but it's pretty much done, ready to use. It's going to be a hard time for us to win with speed. The speed and time, right? I mean, the quality has to be there. Now we are going to compete with each other on the speed and time. How fast can you get this project done beautifully, right? And then, how long and cost. I mean, imagine, we do photo shoot a lot. This is expensive campaign to shoot. You're going to have to fly into Arizona or desert. You have to get 50 different models for the rights. We have to see the fashion part. And there's a limitation. Like, how can I'm not going to have funding to create, a Comme des Garçons-ish with jellyfish dress, in real life. So what it does to me, this process is make me realize that AI can democratize design. So if you don't have money or time, or money or resource, can be a great use for someone who has idea and imagination, but not necessarily have, resources or budget to fly to Arizona with 50 people.
So it sounds like, just to break down what you just talked about, there's the idea that you, a human being, Pum, you came up with. But based on what you talked about, because it was you, I think this happened. Like, if it was a non-creative person who wasn't able to think through this in a very quick way, like you've been doing this 25 years or whatever, but it's the experience that you have as a human being, as a creative, talented, smart, experienced individual. Like, if it was a 25-year-old creative person, I don't know if it would have happened this quickly. So that was that. And also you being able to sort of connect, okay, what is the client trying to do and what do they need to say? What are the product benefits, and being able to connect to that. So there's the idea, right? The second part you also talked about was the quality, right? And that's also based on your experience, your eye, your talent, and what's good versus what's bad. Like, you're able to judge because of experience.
Yeah, you need a little certain taste to be able to judge.
Right, taste. Yeah. But the time and the cost part, time is money as well. But I guess I assume that, you get paid by this client for your time or for your team's time, right? But when it comes to production, did they pay you for production, or were they just paying your basic fee?
Well, there's an animation aspect to it, so there is.
Okay. Yeah.
Production is a part of it too. So it was just like a experiment project. I had to convince the client to let us do this. So, but it is a, pay project, obviously. And production time, yes, because generate it alone, photo alone, that's not enough. We still have to put glasses into the model. We still have to animate it. We have to write caption. We have to make sure that the episode and the story sound right. It's, we add music. We had a music designer creating a original score for the sounds of Alien,
Do you think that the same client or another client would come to you and say, hey, we only have 4 weeks and we don't have a lot of money, but we know you can do great work in AI. Do it. Like, what would you do? What would you say to them?
I can do 4 weeks, but then you will have to have money.
Why? Yeah.
And I can do it quite well.
Yeah.
Everyone have access to Midjourney, but then we have done it so beautifully.
Yeah.
It's funny because, we got a lot of press for this from Ad Age or Adweek. Literally 1 week after we launched the campaign and it was on press, I got 3 calls from new clients.
New clients.
Yeah. I think clients they're curious and they're very excited about the process, and it's just, fascinating. Not so much of the speed. I think the result was more of the result of the campaign.
Yeah.
it's almost like a new visual language in a way. It's like the AI look, right? It's a new look. It's a new style when you think about it. So it's not so much about like how fast or how inexpensive. I mean, that's probably important, but just the way it look is interesting. It's new.
Yeah.
We are creating brand new feelings.
But were they interested in that kind of look, or were they interested in, oh wow, I can get this kind of look this quickly?
No, they're just intrigued by, I have never seen like AI campaign done this way.
Right.
And then it was just kind of interesting to, it's like a new thing to play with.
Yeah.
Everyone just pretty much curious.
But so what would you say if the same client came back to you, 3 months from now saying, hey, I need something, what would you say?
I mean, we'll continue because like fashion, you have to do spring season and fall season. Yeah, we are continue. I mean, this is actually part of the pitch is like we're going to do the next adventure in AI. It's not just going to stop because, it's have to keep going in the fall. In the summer, concept right now is going to go to different land.
Yeah.
That's more like beautiful with flower. And so we are going to keep it to the fall too as experimentation and see, what kind of result we get. And it's going to change, it's going to change. And that's why it's already changed. And I already not like Midjourney 5. So like for me as Midjourney, I mean, when I first started working on this is version 4. In March, version 5 came out and I don't like it.
Why is that?
Because it was too real.
Yeah.
It was so realistic, right? So you see the picture of the Pope wearing Montclair jacket went viral because it's so real. And then some people didn't think it was for real. It's like a real photo.
Yeah.
So giving the same prompt from version 4, version 5, and the result is different.
No.
And I'm not liking now as much because there is imperfection of version 4 where the people have 6 fingers or, there's something like the other thing they can't render very well, it's finger. You always see 6 or 7 fingers always with the human rendering. But now it's getting too good in a way that it's kind of losing its charms a little bit. So like I'm like not even upgrading my to version 5 right now. I just have to like add that I want to render in version 5. I'm keeping 4 because I don't want to lose that 1950 or like, much more like artistic.
Oh, I see.
Also, because now it's just become real. It's like a little bit like when you watch Cinderella, Disney animation, back then versus 3-dimensional Cinderella now, they look different.
Right.
And I think there's something about like the drawing and imperfection that make the piece of art look like art.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's become like so perfect, so real that you can't tell a difference between machine and human anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, good or dangerous is depend on how you want Midjourney to generate it.
Yeah.
But maybe it's good to like, looking at the Instagram and see how the technology evolve visually.
Yeah. But you might not be doing as many actual video and photo shoots as you've done in the past moving forward.
No, not true. I think it's depends.
Really?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I just, came back from a week-long photo shoot.
Right.
If you want something real, raw, authentic, human, you have to work with human.
Okay.
It's going to be tough to creating something that look real, but it's fake because there's something about the AI image. You can tell that it's, an AI generated image. There's something that is still quite Photoshoppy and photo manipulation. And you don't get the sense of like the wind, the sunlight that hit the skin tone. It's just the feeling, right? And I think we all human can tell the difference.
Yeah. So on that point, this is a little bit more philosophical than the conversation that we've been having. But what part of creative process or what part of creativity do you think AI can replace, and what part, should humans do?
Human should, we are the author of a story. So human will continue to dream and ideate, idea. And AI for me is a little bit like machine washer and dryer, right? It's like, when you do laundry in the past, you would have to do it by hand, each time. But now you just like throw the laundry in, and it just automate and get it done for you. We human needs to know how to make a call of like which kind of, let's say Midjourney, you got 4 different A, B, C, D choice. Which one is the one that feel right? And to me, it's come back to the feeling. Does it feeling right? Does it look fake? Does it, you have to make a decision, on like what image you want to put forward to your audience, and what kind of image that's going to work with the audience and the brands. So, I mean, it's funny because I was really excited when I create this campaign, with Midjourney, and I show it to my daughter, who is 17 years old, gamer, right? It's 18, she's turned 18. She's a gamer. She's always, like this kind of look and feel, and I show it to her. I was like, look, Sophie, isn't it amazing? I'm so excited about this campaign. And of course she say, okay, I think it's cool, but it's not as cool as the campaign that you have done previously for Georgetown Optician or Hong Kong Ballet.
Why was that?
She say it's lack emotion and it's done by machine. And she's like, I love the campaign that you use real actor and, go and shooting with the team, so much more. When something good or not, do we put the value into human hand, the time that it's created, the people, that the community of human that coming together to create a campaign, versus like this campaign that done by Pum, and then, 6 different designers in the team. I mean, we're still working as a team, but it's just a different role. So like we as a human has to make a decision, what is good. Same thing, like let's say Louis Vuitton bag, right? Louis Vuitton bag costs certain price, $9,000, because every single piece of the bag is cutting by hand. And there's a human behind that is hand stitching each one, hand painted the side of the bag, and each one is collectible and it has a value when you buy. And sometimes Chanel bag increase in value, as it go. Same thing as watch, right? It's done by human hand. So there's a value to that. The bag can be done by machine, made in China and produced really fast and, look like kind of like the real Louis Vuitton, but it's not quite. So there's a value into the human time and creativity. There's an art of the craft that should be considered of what good is in the future. I mean, how do you see? I mean, I think, what keep me up at night is relevancy. When you are having when you have your own agency for 20 years, you always want to make sure that you stay relevant and you not always just celebrate your past success, right? And I think that's why us, anyways, like we always have to push ourselves to uncomfortable territory. And I think that's what I was doing now with this AI thing, because I didn't even want to do it at first, but then I was like, I don't have any choice but pushing. That's keep me up at night. And, I do worry about the client is not willing to pay
right.
what we're worth. that we should all be worried about, because now, the creativity, ability to tell the story, ability to creating beautiful design, if at the end of the day it's about how many viewers we can get on TikTok, we are not judging on the craft anymore. We are judging on the popularity. So, so that's something that I'm fighting for our industry to, we need to create value for ourselves. And we need to not give away. Because of its fast, it doesn't mean it's cheap. Because our idea is not cheap.
Right. That was part 2 of my conversation with Pum Lefebure, the co-founder and the chief creative officer of Design Army in Washington, D.C. My 3 key takeaways from my conversation with Pum were: number 1, it's the point of view that counts. Number 2, the human touch is what makes the difference. And number 3, obsess about staying relevant. The part of the conversation that caught my attention was when we were talking about how we should charge the client. As you heard, especially from the first episode, the time it took for her to create this campaign drastically reduced from the normal process that she would go through with her team, versus in this case, she was the one who was doing the work. The majority of the work, the heavy lifting, was done by herself. And that was the most revealing aspect of this whole thing, because for those of us who have spent, say, more than 2 decades, and especially running a company, managing people, our job is not necessarily to do the work ourselves, but to let other people, to work with other people, and to elevate their work. AI makes it possible for younger people to try new things that may have taken years for them to gain the skill to do. But the difference here, she said that the work that she created using AI was better than the work that the younger generation did, because she knew how to give the prompts. She knew how to revise the prompts to get what she was looking for much more effectively than, say, younger designers who may not have the vocabulary, who may not have the experience to direct and give feedback. In another conversation that I had a while ago with PJ Pereira, who had written a novel about AI and martial arts recently, he talked about AI today is like a horse instead of a bicycle. And what he meant by that was that controlling AI could be as tricky as riding a horse. You need the experience, you need the skill to know how to ride it. So that difference between knowing how to provide directions and feedback coming from the experience, and on top of that, I would say in her case, and this is what you pay her for, is the taste that she has. She has a unique taste coming from Asia, studying in the US, and building a career and working around the world with clients around the world. That has helped her cultivate that kind of taste that she has, and that's what you pay for. So even though the production aspect of it, the making aspect of it, in a normal circumstance, a campaign like that could have easily cost $500,000 just to produce, and could have taken several months to concept, prepare, and produce. She did that almost by herself, with some help from a few designers that she has. So in this case, she was able to condense the process from, say, 4 months to 4 weeks to go from start to finish. However, it is what you pay for is for her experience and for her taste and for her eye. So not everybody would be able to produce the level of work that she was able to produce. So that's number 1. It's the point of view that counts. Key takeaway number 2, the human touch is what makes a difference. What was really insightful in my conversation with Pum was that she realized relatively quickly the strength as well as the weakness of AI. And the fact that AI wasn't able to produce or generate the very product that it was trying to visualize, which is these pairs of glasses that this brand, Georgetown Optician, sells. I found that insightful and ironic at the same time, because if we are trying to use AI to speed up the process, and the very thing that you want to depict is, say in this case, the product, the glasses, but the fact that it couldn't is very telling. But again, this comes from her experience, that she realized that, you know what, this needs to be done by humans. And she quickly adjusted the approach to produce the glasses by photographing and then photoshopping that into the images that she generated. So the models, the fashion that these models wear, the setting in this case, because it was set on an imaginary planet called AI, that setting, the scene, those things were produced in AI. But the most important aspect of the campaign, the glasses, were made by or photographed by humans and then composited in. So that kind of human touch is what makes a difference. I would add, on another note, really vital human touch is the story. So the strength of this work that she did wasn't just the fact that it was the speed at which she was able to produce this with a fairly limited resource, but also creating the narrative, crafting the narrative so that it wasn't, hey, you know what, look at my AI campaign, but it was, hey, look at this story about humans traveling to outer space, and on this planet you need these glasses. So there was that kind of background story, fiction, but story that was behind it so that it made sense, and then it gave a reason for this AI work to exist. And that's the human touch that made the difference in this case. So key takeaway number 2, the human touch is what makes the difference. And finally, number 3, and this is perhaps the most important point, obsess about staying relevant. As I said earlier, AI tool is a very democratic tool in that anybody can use it. Many tools are free, and it removes the barrier of execution. So in the past, you may have had years of experience to be able to produce the kind of thing that she produced. But this one, that with the use of Midjourney, that removed that barrier of experience and the skill. So think of these technology tools, AI and beyond AI. These are the tools that can help us stay relevant, regardless of age, experience, industry, profession, what have you. Staying relevant as a professional and a human being is one of the most important things that we need to obsess about. Oftentimes, technology does make workers irrelevant because it takes away from jobs, but AI can give us an opportunity to transform what we do and how we work, and it can help us stay relevant. So to summarize my 3 key takeaways from my conversation with Pum were: key takeaway number 1, it's the point of view that counts. Number 2, the human touch is what makes a difference. And number 3, obsess about staying relevant. If you are listening to this on Spotify, there's a Q&A field, so please do send us your questions and comments. And if you like our podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating. We'd be so grateful. I'm Ray Namoto, and this is The Creative Mindset. See you next time.